The apparent Citizen Kane of video games, The Last of Us is a great game. That's why it's on this list of my favorites. But to hold it to that high of a regard, I'm not so sure myself. I mean, comparing anything to the Citizen Kane of movies is already a dated and cliched thing to say anyway. I'm rambling though. The Last of Us really is an awesome experience, especially remastered on PS4, even if it was a little different from what was advertised with the enemy AI. If you take Uncharted with its third-person action shooting, linear approach level design with occasional stealth segments, and then downplay it, remove the spectacle, intensify the gameplay, massively deepen the story, and improve all of the stealth aspects while throwing in tons of survival stuff, you end up with one of the finest constructed viral outbreak games ever. And it's immediately clear from the intro chapter how special the game is, as you control a young girl, helpless and innocent, witnessing the carnage and insanity evolving all around her, only to then cut her life short in a gut-wrenching sequence and then throw you straight into the shoes of the now selfish, bitter, angry, and morally questionable father of that girl known as Joel, who's given a new job from his superiors to safely ship the potential savior of the world, Ellie, to where she needs to go. And the great thing about The Last of Us is that it may use many a cliche with its basic plot structure and looking for a cure stuff and blah, but it's the characters and the writing within the framework of the story that sells it above anything else. Whether you like it or not, or your opinions on what's right or wrong, you are stuck playing as someone that half the time you never really want to play as or do the things you have to do. And even as the end of the game dawns and the intro gets mirrored through the gameplay to make everything come full circle right up until the final moment of a dark, foreboding and completely dickish and helpless ending, it consistently seeps a bleak and utterly nasty atmosphere. And just when you think things will get better or the pressure will slightly get lifted, you then realize there's no happy endings for anyone in the universe of the game. Nobody can be trusted, and even if you come across seemingly evil characters you need to force your way through, you end up questioning who the real bad guy is. This is also illustrated through the way the story takes place over the course of an entire year, not only giving plenty of air for the characters to breathe and properly develop and feel a natural bond and connection from the transitional periods, but also with the themes of the story. The environments go from summery and sunny to wintry and treacherous, and even as you anticipate the relief of spring arriving and everything working out, it never does, which is also reflected in the gameplay. Primarily a stealth action-adventure game, The Last of Us gets all of that stuff nailed perfectly as it is, with very manageable environments to suit any situation, enemies that never stop changing tactics to gang you, and many different types of human and infected enemies that require you to change your attack style constantly. But with the survival horror elements and stealth gameplay, it makes it that much greater. Everything in the game has a limited amount of uses before you need to explore every nook and cranny of the environment to find crafting materials and often make them in real time, on the fly, in your backpack while being shot at or nearly eaten. And stealth kills are not only beneficial to saving resources, but also become the best way to deal with certain threats, like the terrifying blind clickers that see through sound. It's also amazing how you can open so many cupboards and drawers looking for singular bullets for guns, only to find absolutely nothing. That's the level of hopelessness this game has. And ammo is probably the most limited and treasured I've ever seen in a game like this. Yes, finding single bullets is a godsend, which then makes every shot you make in the game truly matter and a huge deal for considering what you'll need in the future just in case a fucking bloater appears to completely wreck your shit, or be thrown into a huge and terrifying ambush in a dark, flooded hotel basement with no ammo, no time to think, no way to pause the action to craft vital health and weapons to protect yourself, and constant needs to move around, explore, and keep the entire situation you're in under wraps without a slight hint of panic. And this isn't even mentioning the details to make you really think, like the world almost seeming to be in the most beautiful and serene state it ever could be once the outbreak occurs and nature completely dominates the gorgeously desolate landscape. And the fact that the viral infection is a real thing that happens in real life with ant colonies. The houses and shelters you raid with visual hints to show how those characters were in the past, seeing corpses holding hands on beds and seeing graffiti and even baby toys scattered around, panicked and emotional diary entries and SOS notes, and how even though pretty linear, every single microscopic detail was thought about with the magnificent art style and so good you could touch them graphics and so good you can picture them sitting on the sofa next to you voice acting. I wouldn't say it was a total game changer, but I would say that The Last of Us is an unforgettable modern classic, and one that's even better to play on PS4, so please do give it a go if you haven't already. Today's Pixel Empire deal in the description below are these extremely cool limited video game prints that you can get as a bundle, including one on The Last of Us, funnily enough. And you could even say that this Last of Us print is telling you that they are indeed the last of them because they are limited. So act fast, okay? And the discount code of Caddy on checkout will get you an extra 15% off on top of that order. So yeah, pretty awesome. Thanks for listening, and until tomorrow, stay tuned and stay beautiful.